Oh friends, 'tis the season to face our fears. And yes, this is a holiday video, friends. You're welcome. As we've covered, I have a very well-researched and rational fear of the ocean, and no one can tell me that I'm wrong. I quite literally do not understand the people who either travel across the ocean constantly or are willing to put themselves in the middle of the ocean for long periods of time. Like those people who sail solo across the ocean. Those people show up on my feed and they're like,
I lost my sailboat. Just kidding. It's over there. It's very tiny, very far away.
brother, what are you doing? You don't know what's in there. Get out. Whew. So this is going to be really fun. Before we get started, please, if you enjoy yourself, like and subscribe. I have so much coming in the future. If you hate what you see, leave a comment. It helps with engagement. Let's get into Still Wakes the Deep. This is a game that had been making the rounds, and boy oh boy was I avoiding it. For reference, this is about something terrible happening on an oil rig. You know, these fucking nightmares that are on the water constantly, disturbing the horrifically unknown ocean floor. There are interesting real-world happenings that were going on in 1975 when the game takes place regarding Scotland and the North Sea and oil. But I am not equipped to discuss them. I'm barely equipped to discuss this game. We open on the ocean. A woman reprimanding us for going somewhere. We were running from something, it seems, leaving behind Suze and the girls. So I think the main character, Kaz, has 2 daughters? Let me tell you, I won't spoil anything, but regardless of circumstance, I would have a hard time leaving my daughter, and my second daughter coming in March. I would have a hard time leaving my wife too, but it's different when it's your kids. I wouldn't do it for an obscene salary. It would have to be so obscene that I could take them with me. The point is, I don't get why he left the mainland. I really don't. And we find out that it's Christmas!
Girls need you a Christmas card.
Are you kidding me? The most magical time to be with your children and you left? As you can see, I'm making this video much more festive, even though before this, I was having a pretty good hair day.
Merry fucking Christmas.
Taking a look around our room, we look out the window and... all things considered, this cabin is cozy. It would probably suck sharing it with someone, but alone, I could do it. Not this one, though. We're able to walk into most of the cabins. It seems empty, probably because of the Christmas season. The rig isn't full of people. Our friend Finley confirms our suspicions that the rig is pretty crappy. Things are leaking like a German car over 100,000 miles, and like a Cybertruck after 10, everything's just breaking. Rennick, who's the head honcho around here, apparently got a memo from the mainland. It's the same mainland Kaz is running from, and Rennick has been anxious, gunning for Kaz. We're going to get some breakfast, though, getting a nice view of someone showering. Right next to Finley? What is this, Starship Troopers?
I'm doing
Fucking shit!
We walk through the crew lounge with darts and pool and bumper pool? Is that what that is? To the cafeteria to get some brekkie. We talk with our mate Roy, and Rennick indeed sounds quite upset.
McClary, to my office. That means now, not as soon as you're ready. Now.
Kaz discusses his impending divorce with Roy. Roy seems to know Kaz's wife and believes she'll come around.
She's talking about divorce.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cass. She'll come around.
Not if I get to jail, she won't.
Well, maybe you could have considered that while you were battering Billy Chamberlain's head in.
Cunt slagged off Susie, had it coming.
We find out that we beat someone's head in, but they talked badly about our wife. Is beating up somebody who deserves it even illegal in Scotland in the 70s? Pretty sure people got away with it in the US. Whatever. Chekhov's insulin is mentioned.
Trot says he's left your insulin in your cabin.
Oh, bless his little communist socks.
Then we take the time to wander around the cafeteria, hearing a bit about those things going on in the world. And like Kaz,
I don't know. Just here to fix the lecky.
Brody is trying to keep Rafs calm before he goes on a dive later. I'm with Rafs. I don't need to say any more about that.
You done it before? Christ, no. I'll stick to the lecky, thanks. No great in tight spaces and it's blowing a gale out there.
Really filling the lad with confidence there, Cass.
Adair seems to be the bully of the rig, sitting alone as a bully deserves. And like a bully, dishes it out but can't take it.
You wouldn't know a spark plug from a fucking hairdryer.
Watch your mouth, McCleary.
The food actually looks excellent, man. I'd love to sit my ass down and have some. Wasn't that what I was here to do? I'm in no rush to get to Rennick's office, so why am I skipping brekkie? Out to the deck, and we follow our safety guidelines by equipping our hard hat and gloves. Now, I don't have any gloves, but very good. Yes. Away we go. We walk across the massive deck, and we run into Inez and Weir, and have our banter making Rennick even more agitated.
You want to transfer here, McCleary? You give me less lip.
Nah, he loves it.
Clary, my office. And don't make me ask again.
Passing the drill, we see Roper's concerned because the drill is acting up. Now, this could be because the place seems to be falling apart, but could be something more ominous. Scooby gives us a fuse box tutorial to reactivate the lift that will take us to our doom.
Clary, why are you not in my office?
Rennick is about as pleasant as we've been led to believe.
Shut the door and have a seat.
I'm fine, Stan.
Sit your arse in that chair, you fucking liability.
Kaz shows that he really doesn't know when to hold his tongue.
Technically, it's no shit.
Shut your gob, you Ned prick!
As Kaz continues, not knowing when to can it, Rennick gets a call. The person on the other side of the phone says that something feels off.
I don't care if it feels off. Just fucking do it!
But Rennick is one of those managers that believes his workers are the enemy. So he tells them to keep drilling.
That trouble with the missus?
You're fired.
Kaz, again, could have salvaged this if he wasn't such a smartass. Well, the good news is we're off this rig. Probably going to jail, but still, all we have to do is make it to the helicopter. As we make it to the helipad, there's a huge explosion. From the drill? What an unforeseen circumstance that simply couldn't have been avoided.
Just fucking do it!
Gregor falls and we attempt to save him, but you know.
Guys, get back, man! Guys, help me! Guys, don't let me die, man, please! I don't want to die! I don't want to die! Jesus, just...
We fail. And for some reason, we try to stand up, which is not a move that I would make, but condemns us to also fall into the inky abyss. We flash back to Roy and Kaz telling Suze that, well, I beat the crap out of someone, and my thought on how to avoid dealing with the consequences of those actions is to run to an oil rig for 4 months. It's foolproof, and I have no idea why Suze has such an issue with it. Brody, who we met earlier, is able to fish us out of the water somehow. Pretty sure death is all but certain if you fall from that height, even if it's water, or at least significant injury, right? Or did the hard hat work? We awake next to a space heater and make our way back outside. The rig appears to be falling apart, and we see Brody next to a bathysphere. They call it a diving bell, though. This is what Rafts was using to dive. Rafts still seems to be in there, freaking out and sounding inhuman. Brody is trying to get the bell down, but the cable is stuck. We have to do some lever pulling to make the bell rise to Brody. Now, if I weren't playing a video game, I would simply tell Brody not to do that, because it's apparent that Rafts has something else going on. And it probably has something to do with the explosions that just rocked the rig. But no, I'm off to raise the bell for Brody, even after passing closer to the bell, and certainly noticing that something isn't right. Are we not hearing him in here? That is abnormal. We pull the lever and go up to raise the cable higher. Brody informs us that the drill hit something that started all of this. Something big. To get up to the higher decks to find out what's going on, we have to get through engineering by going under the rig. Not a huge fan of this place, as it is closest to the writhing ocean. And this is the North Sea, so it's probably frigid. I platform and parkour my way around the disintegrating catwalks and run across, well, this. Douglas tells us not to get too close, almost seeming to tear us away from a trance. It looks like this thing has climbed its way up the drill. It also seems to be affecting our sight and emitting some kind of light. Douglas encourages us not to touch or get too close to whatever it is. After another parkour section where we almost fall off a rail, shimmy along this ledge, jump across this ladder, finishing up with the monkey bars, into Leg C, we go in an attempt to find our way to engineering. We do a whole lot more climbing before finding a flashlight and entering a claustrophobic area. Deeper we go, crouching and removing a vent. At the end we hear less than comforting noises. Through the door, we see that Finley has made it, and Gibbo is the one that's making that noise. Finley explains,
After that explosion, he got oil or some shite on him and just, I don't know, he freaked out, went for me. He's still out there.
She tells us we have to go through something else to get somewhere else. Welcome to the missions for the rest of the game. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, I'm just saying. In this case, we go through the water tanks. We make our way down and continue until we hit a jump scare. And turn a wheel, then another wheel, then another wheel. I'm very hesitant to open this bloody door, and I think that's reasonable. So I look around for a ladder. Making our way to the water tanks, we hear Gibbo.
No, you're not coming this way!
What the fuck is that?
So I hide in the locker immediately. Gibbo is saying things that inspire a lot of confidence.
Go away!
Gibbo keeps telling us not to come in and not to look at him, but I can't see him, so no worries, I guess. As we move through the water tanks, I don't ever see him, so I don't know if I did it right. I keep telling him that I'm not looking. And maybe that's enough for him. We open the hatch, and as we climb down, we get a glimpse of whatever Gibbo turned into. There's another dead friend on a ladder, and despite my better judgment, I climb it. Making it to another stairwell, Gibbo pleads with us and continues to be generally distressed. We leave him to go to accommodation. Again, the only time I saw Gibbo was when he closed the hatch earlier, so a fairly easy first encounter. I have to spend a minute by the heater to warm up and enter accommodation. The phone is ringing and we discover that more people are still alive aboard the rig. They say they're coming up to accommodation, but it's blocked. They hang up before we're able to tell them. We're on the lookout for our buddy Roy. Before that, we hear trots in the break room, apparently pissed about the outcome of a game of pool.
Jesus, Trots! Trots!
I think something's going to come through the door, so I start running, but the weird light just dissipates. This stuff has spread throughout the rig, blocking a lot of the doors, so we'll have to go through the break room to find a way through to Roy. I comment on Kaz's willingness to call out every given moment.
Hello?
Dude, can you stop?
First rule of surviving stuff like this, don't make your presence known. I get that he's trusting that Roy's okay, but what if he's turned into some abomination? You won't know that until it's too late and you're barging through the doors announcing yourself. Luckily, Roy is okay and has been holed up in a storeroom, and we give him all the information that we know. Kaz makes some good points.
We can't hide, Roy. We have to get off this rig right the fuck now.
The plan is to clear a path to the lifeboats, then Roy will follow after us. We squeeze through the wall and, that eye is moving. We decide to go through laundry, but hear something moving around in there. Removing the vent, the sound of something angry rings through the air, and the whole rig shifts again. Kaz continues to have the worst survival instincts.
Hello?
Why? What?
Anybody
Shut
in here?
up. Shut up.
And everything continues to be awful.
9 or storm 10. Time in southeast. Rough or very rough.
After being attacked by tendrils and pushed through a door, I hurry to the port side, which has seen better days. We're gonna scrooge by, and Boyd has a very bad day. Rennick continues to show that he's a poor manager.
All personnel need to get to their nearest evacuation point. Don't you all get too excited now. You'll all be back at work in 15 minutes once I get all this nonsense straightened out.
And it appears as though our lifeboat chances are getting slimmer by the second. We managed to parkour over to what appears to be the last remaining lifeboat. Are they all over on this side of the rig? I mean, I know it seems as though Rennick is a profit over safety kind of guy. It just seems like this is a bad design. After pulling some pins and throwing the lever, we release the lifeboat directly into the sea. Kaz, you're supposed to be on the lifeboat. Rennick calls and tells us where to go for evacuation. We thank him sincerely for the information.
Go on your cell, you old fud.
Making our way around the rig, we put out a fire with an extinguisher we find and get a disturbing call from Ines before we return to accommodation.
I need help. I don't know what to do.
What was that?
Something's happening to me. Oh no!
Ines!
Moving some of the things aside from the door, we can see whatever this is has basically infiltrated every area of the rig. This also means that we're not alone anymore. Trots, the man from the beginning, who we heard being attacked through the door in the break room, has decided that this is the time to do laundry. Good news is that he doesn't really have to worry about pants anymore, considering below his torso is now a grotesque abomination with tendrils suspending it in the air. I think this means less work and more money, but he seems to be rather frustrated. He's blocking my exit and patrolling the area, so I have to distract him somehow. I do so for a second, then he's on my tail.
Fucking move it! Jesus Christ, that was close.
We make it to Roy, but guess what? He needs Chekhov's insulin. Rennick doesn't seem like a patient person, so Roy is going to have to go get the insulin himself, while we go and make sure Rennick doesn't escape without Roy. Apparently, there's a support ship that Roy tells us to radio out to. But how does that work? Why would a support ship need to be radioed to? I would think there were set times for a check-in with the support ship. If the support ship doesn't get a signal within that time, shouldn't it come and check on the rig anyway? Or am I just making too much sense? Out to the deck we go, where Roy had earlier informed us that he saw something terrifying out there. It looks about as foreboding as expected, with a hint of Silent Hill vibes. Yes, friends, it's on the list. There's something howling out here.
I don't like the sound of that. Whatever it is.
I try to grab some coffee because seriously, I'm not going to be going through this uncaffeinated, but discover that Kaz is incapable of holding something and climbing down a ladder. So OSHA is involved? We flip the breaker to turn off the lightning trap. Following a blood trail and a dead body, we scrooch our way through and see one of our mates getting got by some horrible abomination.
Dobby is a free elf.
Inez made it despite our phone call with him, and he informs us that the abomination is Muir. He's apparently the OSHA representative on this rig, as even in his horrid form, he's a stickler for the rules. We have to get to the other side of the rig, so we duck through some things to avoid Muir, catching glimpses of him through the rubble. By paying attention to his movements, we can navigate through the wreckage on the deck. It seems that whatever we hit with the drill is assimilating the crew, or some of the crew are assimilating others, which Muir seems to be an amalgamation of sea creatures and the crew. The first time I exit this shipping container, he attacks, and I'm unable to escape.
Lord, I need the help! No!
The second time I try jumping to clear more distance before Muir starts to move. Jumping a second time, we're able to get to a container, but he takes offense. We have to jump through this window here and get through a vent to find Dobby.
Christ, Dobby.
At least he wasn't formed into a horrible meat conglomeration. I can hear Mir calling in the fog. Cowardice, it seems, is not prevailing in this game. I have to continue moving forward. Inez meets up with us again and says,
"We're right crabs in a creel now."
And I just have to agree. My new goal is the hoist controls behind the fence. I try a shortcut, but that goes... poorly. And though I'm able to get away before Mir gets me, I do not find a shortcut. This means another series of ducking under and behind things across the deck. Mir Levents. Wanting to help and having the ability to are two different things, my dude. After hitting the controls, we now have to make our way back to where we saw Inez. Mir is on red alert now, though, making this a bit more dicey. I run when I see an opening and make it to the elevator with Inez. Even though Inez was here first, he's unlucky. At the top, Rennick is trying to get the pilot to take off without the rest of the crew. And just, here's the thing. If they could leave, go get help, and return, I don't see how that's such a bad plan. Every second that they wait, the rig gets more inundated with sea goo. Don't get me wrong, I hate Rennick. I've worked for people like Rennick, and I hope the worst for them. But still, maybe it's not so crazy to want to get off the rig as fast as possible. Archie is being an absolute pal, though, and trying his best to keep the helicopter here. But then...
I'm right here! Archie, stop! Wait! Fuck! Bastard! You lying bastard! Come back! Hey! What the fuck's it? Fuck!
So I'm not sure what happened. Either Rennick was the one who actually took off and they fought back against him, or Archie took off and when he saw Kaz, he tried to turn around, making Rennick try to take control. We also don't really know how this goo works, so maybe somebody was infected by it. It does seem like the results of contact are pretty immediate, though. The crash has us blacking out to a flashback of our wife, giving us a well-deserved talking to. Kaz is sort of being a coward here, running to the middle of the North Sea to hide from the consequences of beating a guy up. Of course, this is the guy that started the fight. I don't know, I feel like if you start something, get your ass kicked, then try to press charges, you look like a dweeb. Kaz still should have left. That's the better idea, especially when you have kids. Suze is right, though. How long can Kaz stay in the North Sea? When he comes back, does he really think nothing will be wrong anymore? Kaz really isn't the brightest bulb, but...
good with the lecky.
Upon waking up, we run into Rennick's office where a phone is ringing. Brody tells us that we need to find the radio room to contact the support ship. But again, how far out is the support ship? If no one contacts them for a while, won't they come to check this place out? Doesn't matter because the radio room is destroyed. The power flicks out and back again. The phone rings.
Hey.
It's Brody.
I know who it is, you daft prick.
So the power is going out, and if the rig goes to emergency batteries, the radios won't work. What? How? If it's an emergency, shouldn't you have a radio? We're off to the Jennies because...
good with the lecky.
Before we're able to do that, we get a call from Davros, who is at the lifeboats. A little late to the party, as now we don't have lifeboats, and we also don't... have a helicopter. When we tell him to come back up, he's reasonably distressed by the news.
Climb back up! I just got here! Do it again!
Making our way into admin, we get an unnerving call from Scooby.
Christ, Kaz. He's here. He's in the wall.
Oh, easy. What are you on about? Who's here?
Under the admin module. He's haunting us. He's coming back.
Fun stuff. After putting out this fire, we head deeper into admin, which appears to not be faring well. McCleary still doesn't get the hint or hasn't seen any freaking horror movies.
Hello?
Turns out the thing haunting the halls and hanging out in our walls is our friend Rennick. I mean, I know the guy had a big head, but this is ridiculous. But yeah, he chases us through admin until we're able to squeeze into a crevice. Through a shower, I make a very bad call by trying to hide behind this bin that is blocking our way as Rennick breaks through the wall. It seems that these creatures' kryptonite is small spaces. Rennick is a relentless pursuer, and I make another bad call. This time I make the right call by running into this room off to the left. You can hear Rennick running through the walls, taking out survivors as he goes along. When he catches up with us again, he is conveniently slow as he is unable to overtake us before we get this bulkhead open. On the starboard side of the rig, we find the helicopter hanging off the side. I have a belief that the safer option is to jump to this ledge down here. The game, on the other hand, thinks it's a better idea to climb the helicopter. So I do that, and shock horror, so we jump again and make our way down to another telephone as the helicopter is lost to the abyss. Poor Bruce drowns on the phone with us. Either that or he's eaten something really awful. Opening this hatch, we continue our plight to get to those jennies. After pushing this cart off the first time, I have some idea that it'll, stop me from holding it before it falls. This is false. The second time, I make sure not to do that again and make it to the other side. Into the darkness we go, climbing a ladder to throw a switch to allow us to progress deeper into the pipes and darkness of the oil rig. Gas starts leaking into our area, and I die right as I see the valve I'm supposed to turn to survive. After moving this cart, we find ourselves in engineering, which is a good thing. I mean, that's where we wanted to go, right? I see Finley in here. She'll probably be able to direct us where we need to go. The writing in this game also gets to show off.
Fucking Rennick nearly had me. He's changed. He's fucking vicious.
Doesn't sound like it's changed much to me.
The Bira is not doing well, according to Finley, and we are on emergency batteries, which won't hold out for long. After doing as we're told and activating the protective relay, the power seems to come back. After trying to go see Finley again, the power cuts out. So whatever we did didn't work. There's a fault that we need to fix to get the jennies working again.
What the fuck was that?
I don't know, but the generators are that way.
Off to our certain doom, turning the valve to stop the steam and seeing a frankly beautiful mass of sea goo. Something is for sure down here with us, and we hear it all the way to the jennies. Through this electrical room and out to this open area. Our objective is on the other side, but of course we're joined by Adair, who, if you don't remember, we were not on good terms with.
Watch your mouth, McCleary.
Now that he's a horrible abomination, I doubt our relationship will be mended. He's howling like a wolf, which is fun. And after watching his movements, we make our way through and up to the control room. I managed to guess the order correctly, but it doesn't immediately get the power running again. Finley shows up and tells us we have to find the generator key and restart the generator out on the floor. She's gonna go look for the fault. I carefully make my way to the generator.
Fuck! Ah!
And restart it. Finley is able to find the fault in mud handling. Mud handling? Before we can figure out why people are handling mud, Adair returns and begins hunting us again. After causing a distraction, I'm able to get up to the second floor, but get cornered. Adair is pretty much blocking the place I'm supposed to run to, so I cause a distraction, then try to make it to the vent, which goes well until we get back into this electrical room. Adair manages to find us, but we run to the door and close it on him in time. Now to mud handling. This is not something that my kid is great at doing after mom picked out a very nice outfit. No, it has something to do with cooling and cleaning the drill bit. That's according to Google AI, so I'm probably wrong. And if you know more than me, leave a comment. I'm legitimately interested, so please enlighten me. We've reached the switch in mud handling and replaced the fuse. Adair tries to break into our little cage, but we're able to unlock this gate and escape. Finley tells us that we have to go back and reset the protective relay, the thing that we did at the beginning of this whole escapade, to restart the Jennies. So we're back to avoiding Adair again. I throw a distraction, which works the first time, then almost gets me wrecked on round 2.
You answer.
But I managed to work on my throw and distract him long enough for me to escape to the control room and protective relay. Brody rings us to tell us that we're successful in starting the power, but the rig is starting to sink, and I don't know what I thought. But I did not realize that these gigantic rigs were floating. I mean, it's stupid of me to think that they made these legs go to the ocean floor, but still, just adds to the horror of it all. So we're sinking, and we need to engage some winches in the legs that will keep us afloat for some reason. We only have to do this in leg A and B. Brody will take care of the others. Luckily, we're right next to a door for leg A because Adair lingers outside. Putting out another fire, we begin the harrowing climb down the leg, using counterweights on the sides to slowly head deeper. It takes me an upsetting amount of tries to get across this tank that's hanging in the middle of the leg.
Fuck! Oh, Christ. Fuck! Shit!
Clearing another patch of fire with a valve, we arrive at another counterweight. The fuse blows, so we have to repair it. This isn't super difficult, and we call another counterweight, getting us even closer to the bottom of the leg. Hey, remember friends, we have another one we have to do after this. So, great. We pull a pin and flip a switch, which does whatever we need it to do, and Brody calls us on the intercom. In order to get to leg B, we need to deal with a nightmarish scenario. A slow swim through oily water, diving under the water and seeing more dead bodies. Lovely. I'm so glad I'm swimming through this. In the pontoon, Kaz continues to have no survival instincts.
Hello? Christ, creepy as fuck down here.
What sounds like Suze comes over the intercom.
She's calling me. I'm going to find
Let's just not think about that and get this gate open. Through some more disgusting water, we have to pull up this debris screen so that we can launch ourselves through this hatch. I'm surprised that at this point I haven't run into anything terrible yet. The pontoon starts to flood, which is my nightmare, as we enter these speed swimming sections, which I hate, but manage to escape through once I calm down and find the yellow. We stumble on O'Connor, who is in an unfortunate state. He tries to grab us, and we run up the stairs to the door, which doesn't want to open. But we're right in front of the winch control now. So we pull the pin and flip the switch. Our job now is to ascend leg B. So we call an elevator and, oh. So this is what the interior of leg B looks like. The rig is getting assimilated in the same way the crew is. Whatever the sea goo is very powerful and kind of beautiful. But I do think it's a natural thing. I don't think this is some Cthulhu stuff. But the sparkly bits do look like spores, right? There's no way that Kaz isn't some kind of infected, right? After warming up, we grab the phone and inform Roy of the things going on around the ship. We also get a call of what sounds like a recording between Suze and Kaz.
Here it is. Listen, I don't have long. I left away my mum. I had to get out. She's hurting me. I'm going to have my head stuck.
Suze! Is that you?
Oh, Jesus. This one's trying to give me a kicking and all.
Gonna be a wee boxer, eh?
Aye, you wish.
I wish I could see you.
I do think that to some extent the sea goo has affected Kaz. I don't think he's in the clear. We start our trek back across the deck and see that oil is spilling out from where the drill was, where the goo first began its assimilation of the Bira. Brody is waiting for us up this ladder. There's something wrong with the flare stack, which is used to burn off unwanted gas, I guess? I'm not sure what our next goal is, but I gather it's to fix the flare stack, which we get a bit cheeky with Brody about the fact that we're doing all this wild shit.
Have you seen it out there? Oh aye, it's quite nice in here, you know, maybe we should swap.
You can't work the controls, Kaz. Otherwise of course, I'd go myself.
Christ. Alright. What am I doing?
You need to get there and find the diverter valve, main to the auxiliary. It's on the middle floor, flare side. I'll ignite the stack from here.
Right.
If I can't do it, then you'll need this. Jesus, I'll be on the tannoy if you need any help.
So off we go with that in mind and the flare in our hand. So great that we have this when everything is leaking oil. Through this cabin and vent, we stumble across our buddy Adair again.
Somebody.
Ah, Christ.
The rig is also now literally falling apart. After activating the very loud elevator, Adair is also activated. And our only way out of the elevator is the way that he went. I'm able to fairly effectively sneak into this little ledge here, and then onto an even higher ledge to a button that activates an alarm, sending Adair into a tizzy. Allowing me to get into this other little area. Adair is moving in a circle around here, so we wait for him to pass and move a little farther, turning off the fire with this valve, and make it to the room down the hall with the switch to divert the flare gas. Of course, this doesn't work at all.
Because I'm not that fucking lucky.
And I have to go use the flare to manually light the gas.
Wave or something so I know you receive it.
Prick.
The flare stack is this crane-looking thing. And of course, once we step onto it, we get into a chase sequence with Adair.
Jesus, you're fucking joking me!
After avoiding him, we throw the flare, setting the stack and Adair alight.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
And now the whole thing is going to collapse, so I have to run back down. Kaz doesn't make it. In our flashback, we find that the guy that we beat up was pining after Suze.
He's carried a fucking torch for you since school. He's always hated me for being the bigger man and for having you in those beautiful fucking wains.
Oh, no. Bigger man! You are shitting me, McCready. You're the bigger man. Your 8-year-old daughter's got more brains and bigger balls than you have.
Yeah, I agree with Suze. Being the bigger man would have meant not bashing his skull in. Somehow, I'm still alive and at the base of the rig. I don't know how much time has passed, and the rig is quickly deteriorating. So is our mental state.
This fucking stuff did to me.
We head higher through the rig that is becoming more sea goo than rig. Rafts, the guy that was in the diving bell that Brody was trying to get to in the beginning, is, well, now no longer human.
Rafts, mate. What a mess.
Back into engineering in the hopes that our friend Finley is still there and that Brody is still fighting the good fight. We find them both in the cabin that we first saw Finley in, and they're desperately trying to keep the Bureau afloat. Roy comes over the intercom saying he's now above accommodation. He still doesn't have his insulin. Regardless of the circumstances, Kaz decides to go get him.
I don't know how long I can last without insulin.
He's up on the roof. I have to get him.
No!
Is anybody out there?
You have to get to Marine Control with Finley.
Please!
It's a 2-man job and we don't have much time.
You think Roy does? Can't I just leave him? I promised I'd get him home.
Let him go.
Fine. If you want to go, go.
And okay, I don't want to sound crass, but you have kids, my dude. You should be doing everything you can to get back to them. I feel for your friend. I do. But at this point, I think it would be a better idea to buy more time somehow. Also, where the hell is the support ship? It's obviously been hours. No one came to check on what was going on? The nightmare continues as I now have an extended swimming portion through a flooded engineering section to get to Roy. This area is continuing to flood as well, meaning the safe havens above the water are constantly shrinking. We keep swimming and eventually make it through the waters and climb again, being quickly followed by rising water. And we arrive back at accommodation. After warming up, we start our search for Roy's insulin, and then Roy. The break room now has a hole in it, and the door where we saw Trots get got is open. Past this disturbing scene, and along the bathroom stalls, we climb through a vent and up into another area of accommodation. The rig has sunk to the point where accommodation is flooding now, and areas now are completely cut off due to the sea goo. We need to find more vents to climb through in order to traverse the area. It wasn't going to be that easy because Trots is still lingering.
He's still up here.
We're able to get through this busted door with a melted friend. Trots tries to join us but is unable. Up through this vent and in a room with more melted friends, we get jump scared by Trots patrolling the hallway. I make it through without much issue until I get to this vent. Back in the bedrooms, we find Roy's insulin and make a break for the stairwell. Even though Trots grabs us, the roof collapses, killing him and setting us free. On the roof, we see that the sea goo has pretty much completely overtaken the rig. The whole thing is moving and tilting, and the drill area where all of this started is now glowing a reddish pink. We get to the cabin, and Roy is dead.
Oh, you bastard. Don't leave me here. Please, big man, come on back. Christ, don't leave me. Roy, don't leave me. I can't do this, man. I'm scared, Roy. I'm fucking terrified.
Again, I hate to sound crass, but I called it. We sort of wasted time trying to get him when we could have been doing more to keep the rig afloat and potentially save all 3 of the remaining lives on the rig. The phone rings and Finley is telling us the water is still rising, and we inform her that Roy is dead. She tells us her and Brody need our help, so we leave the cabin and climb our way over to them. This crane we have to climb is precarious. It moves and sways as we make our way across it, and we get a good look at the sea goo, which now has a tornado of debris circling it. So I guess it has some kind of telekinetic powers? After jumping across and off the crane, the rig is pretty well destroyed. So much so that we can jump through a hole in the roof to marine control. In this room, we see that Roper was melded with the sea goo and stuck here. He doesn't seem aggressive, and we try to keep calm when we're around him. We call Finley, and she tells us there are 2 switches that we need to throw. This is a pretty tense part because we don't know if Roper's going to attack like O'Brien, especially because we need the key out of his hand, or well, one of his hands, to get the switch open. Roper warns us to keep Rennick away.
It's coming from me. Keep him away.
Making me wonder, what is Rennick planning? These guys are being amalgamated to each other, right? Stands to reason that Roper can see what Rennick is thinking. He seems to know when Rennick is coming for him before we flood the forward pontoon, which somehow is keeping us above the water. Whatever we did worked, and Roper predictably grabs us before we're able to leave. We have to meet Finley and Brody in drill ops. In the stairwell, we hear Suze over the intercom again.
Suze.
You got here. Your daughter, for fuck's sake. What is wrong with you?
So it stands to reason that Kaz is losing a bit of his sanity. The area starts to flood as we're forced to swim yet again. The sea goo that was benign before seems to be more aggressive, trying to grab us as we pass through the hallway. When we get flooded again, we have to stick our head through these breathing holes where we hear Rennick stomping around still. Through another lengthy swimming section where we swim through the sea goo sails or whatever, we get a distressed call from Suze.
Suze? Suze!
Where are you? Guys, I can't even find them!
Suze!
At this point, it's pretty obvious the goo is messing with us. Soon it seems that Rennick will be doing the same. We're washed away again, and we see these splotches show up. I'm pretty sure whatever is infecting the Bira has infected Kaz. As we get down the hallway, Rennick does show up and chase us. He says some pretty eerie things. Although he tries to grab us, we escape, and he gets stuck and drowns. His last words revealing his true disdain for the Bira. We find Finley, who is distraught, as Brody has gotten himself stuck in the pontoons, which are now flooding. There's no way that we can get to him either. He dies on the phone with us, and Finley has finally broken down. Even though Brody has explained to us that the whole rig is a bomb, she's flicking her lighter with reckless abandon. She runs off, planning to set the rig alight. We follow as quickly as we can, trying to convince her that there's some other way. Finley is stubborn, though, and she persists. The ocean has nearly swallowed the Bira, so has the goo. Finley is pinned by falling debris. She's hit so hard that she loses all of her hair, occasionally.
We can't get back. We can't. That can.
What?
There's no going to stop with us. Fuck's sake, McCleary. For once in your life, be brave. Be brave for them.
She makes a good point, though. Even if a boat gets here, what if this makes it to the mainland? Even if that in itself is not catastrophic, what happens when humankind does what it does and tries to understand this thing? As I've been saying, I have a distinct feeling that McCleary is infected with whatever this is. So finally, not being a coward and running away, McCleary faces the beast. Through the oil and organic matter, we see and hear a heartbeat.
God almighty.
McCleary realizes,
Christ, never had a chance.
And throws the lighter deep into the rig, obliterating it.
Twinkly lights, that's what makes Christmas bright.
We get brought through Kaz's memories of meeting Suze and beginning their relationship to their getting married, from them having their children, as Kaz moves towards the light, almost welcomed by the entity that devoured the rig. We wake in the bedroom that we've seen so frequently in our flashbacks, the room where the decision to leave for the Bira D was made by Kaz. If he hadn't walked out this door, the sea wouldn't have taken him. And indeed it does. And unfortunately, Kaz didn't make it home for Christmas. A follow-up letter is read by Suze, saying she knows it's been hard, that she forgives Kaz, and that they'll get through the hard times. She tells us to be safe on these waters, and to come home to her and our girls. She reminds us,
I love you, Cameron McCleary. Be safe out there on those waters. My man. My love.
the game ends and nah, dude, I'm fine. I just got something in my eyes. Holy crap. The end of this game is rough emotionally. From Roy, Brody, and Finley all being picked off one by one, to when we realized that Kaz's decision to leave was a final one. He will never see Susan and the girls again. Something the goo almost torments him with. It seems the goo is tormenting all of the crew aboard the Biradi in some fashion as they cry out for their loved ones and their compatriots. And listen, a lot of this stuff didn't hit as hard before I had kids. I wasn't totally cold to it, but I always do a self-insert of what would I do in this situation? In this case, pretty easy. Don't be an idiot like Kaz. I mean, how old are we? Breaking people's skulls over what seems like high school beef? Like, a dude is jealous of you and your wife. Well, good. That means you did something right. I'm not a fighter because at the end of the day, I don't think there's much to fight about. And by this, I mean physically fighting. I'm not going to beat somebody up because they said something that hurt my feelings. Grow up. But the thought of never seeing my daughter or wife again kills me. And it killed me at the end of this game. What was the Seagoo? No idea. The drill obviously hit this entity, creature thing, unleashing it on the rig. I stand by what I said earlier, that it's a naturally occurring thing, but I can't really glean much about it, and I don't think we're supposed to. I perused the internet after completing the game because it went pretty viral. A lot of people played this and were commenting on it, and I swear, eventually, I will be on trend. I have things in the works, okay? Eventually, I'm not going to be late to every party. I hope. And there are some great creators discussing it, but the most interesting take on it was a guy named Ragnar Rocks. In his video, Why Still Wakes the Deep is an absurdist horror masterpiece. His theory is that Kaz dies when he falls off the helipad at the beginning of the game. All of this was in his death throes. His dying basically forcing him to come to terms with the mistakes that he had made. The last letter from Suze didn't actually exist. That was all something in his head that he made up to make his death easier. I sort of believe that still. But this does make sense. Kaz keeps surviving what really should be unsurvivable circumstances. In this instance, the Bira's drill just hit an air pocket or something, making the rig shudder, sending Kaz and the other guy to their death. His video is way better than mine and discusses so much more, so please go check it out if you're interested in finding out more about the world of this game. And while I like that theory, I'm not sure that's what the devs intended or had in mind. I don't know though. And overall, I very much enjoyed my time with Still Wakes the Deep. Mostly because it's not a horrifically hard gaming experience that I'm barely holding on to my sanity finishing. Just wait for some of the videos that are coming out. If you've made it this far, you obviously like what you see, so please like and subscribe because I have videos constantly coming out. I want to say thank you so much to the people who have subscribed up to this point. Your support is really energizing me to do more. Just you watching this video is all the support that I could ever ask for. If you feel like supporting more or want to get exclusive videos and extended cuts, join the Aliens in the Doghouse Patreon. I already have a video up there of the full playthrough of this game with my commentary.
Oh, this sucks. Oh, this sucks. No, please leave me alone. I don't want to be here. Oh.
And that is only for Patreon subscribers. Links in the description, but it's just Aliens in the Doghouse on Patreon. Other than that, I had a lot of fun. Happy holidays. I hope you're able to spend time with family or loved ones or found family. I just want everybody to have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Thank you all so much. Love you. And we run into Inez and Muir. Mir? Inez and Muir. Jesus. How the fuck do you say that? Inez and Muir? I'm just gonna say Mir.